Having vision for our life, vision for our work, for our craft, where we're going is the very engine that propels us forward. But what happens when you can't see? What happens when you don't know where you're going? Hey, it's Lucas Grobot, and you're listening to Weaver and Loom. In aviation, there are two main kinds of navigation. First is VFR and second is IFR, and you have to be rated in both in order to fly in both. The VFR rating stands for Visual Flight Rules, and IFR stands for Instrument Flight Rules. Now, the crude summary of these rules are as follows. For VFR, it is exactly what it sounds like, visual flight rules. You have to have a visual of the ground. You cannot fly through a cloud. You have to fly around the cloud. You can't fly in foggy weather. You can't fly at night. You have to be able to visually see where you're going. And you're flying based off of landmarks. Great thing about this is you can fly from point A straight to point B because you can see exactly where you're going. You're flying based on the landmarks on the ground to get to your destination. The problem is when you're only VFR certified, you cannot fly at night, you can't fly through storms, you can't fly when there's poor or low visibility. Meaning, there's a lot of situations where you're going to be grounded and unable to make progress, unable to get to your destination. The other certification is IFR, Instrument Flight Rules. Instrument Flight Rules is just that. You are relying on the instrument in your panel, on your cockpit, rather than relying on the visual, rather than relying on what you see out the window. You are trusting those instruments to tell you where you are, where you're going, where you need to be. The other thing with IFR is that you're listening to the control tower, and the control tower is guiding you. It's telling you what elevation to go to. It's telling you what waypoints to go to. In IFR, you're not going in a straight line from point A to point B, but you're going to waypoints and radio waypoints, which it's like tacking in a ship. You're going out of your way, hitting different points back and forth, leading you to your destination. And oftentimes, if you're flying VFR, it wouldn't make sense. Why fly east when you want to go north? My question for you today is, what are you flying in your life? What are you certified? What are you comfortable? What are you able to fly? Do you find yourself grounded on a foggy and a rainy day? Do you find yourself stuck at night with everyone else, when there's fear crouching at the door, when there's uncertainty, when you don't know where you're going? Do you end up sitting, floating, drifting, waiting for a ray of sunshine to beam back through the clouds for you to have clarity to take a few more steps forward? Or are you trusting your principles, your values, your instrument? Are you trusting that voice that's telling you which way to go when it's scary, when it's dark, when it's stormy, when it's foggy, when you can't see? Are you trusting that voice when it tells you to move to a different elevation, a different altitude, when it doesn't make sense? See, with VFR and IFR, they're like our lives. Are we flying by what we can see? Are we limited in being self-reliant, wanting to go the shortest possible path from A to B to get to our destination? Or are we living reactively? Oh, I see that landmark. Okay, I'm now going to go here. Are we grounded? Are we stuck when we're facing difficult, trying situations or just a bad day, grounded in emotional storms? Or are we flying by what we can't see? Are we flying based on trust? Are we traveling to that destination based on faith, based on flying blind, trusting those instruments, trusting those guiding values and principles in our life, trusting that voice that's in our ear, being able to fly through darkness and confusion and storms, being able to fly based on our principles rather than based on what we see in front of us? Are we flying to a place that we don't see, where it seems like we're going in all these other directions, but we have envisioned a place that many other people can't envision because they can only see what's in front of them? They can only see what's in the world around them? Or are you envisioning a world that does not exist yet? So my question today is, how are you flying? Do you fly by what you see? Or do you fly by what you trust, by what you know, by what you believe in, by those principles and values, by that voice that's leading and guiding you? Thank you for listening to this episode of Weaver and Loom. Please, if you have any questions, I would love to hear them. You can email them to me or send me a voice message on my website, lucasgrobot.com. I would love to hear your questions about this episode or any previous episode. Also, if you found this encouraging or challenging, please share it with a friend, text them, DM them. It would probably mean so much to them, and it would mean so much to me if you did that. Finally, I'm Lucas Grobot, and thank you for being here and listening to Weaver and Loom, where destiny is woven.